Here at Clinton High School, which everybody I'm sure is familiar with. We're looking at the hardcourt softball field over to the new football field, which is now covered with artificial turf, but which was nothing but dust when we were playing. And as some of you may remember, going to swimming, which we used to trudge all the way from the neighborhood, and the swimming was for I think 5 cents a period, and you had to bring your own towel, and there's one chance for us all to get a shower. Bronx High School of Science, here at 204th Street between Goulden and Paul Avenue. When we were younger, shall we say, there used to be a WPA project here with big stone circular fixtures in which we went into and used to smoke pipes and cigarettes when we thought we were being wise guys in those days. Plenty of an upset stomach in there. The Bronx High School of Science moved up from 183rd and the Concourse, oh, it must be 20 years now, I guess. Anyway, that's the way it looks now. Frisch Field, home of the Stags, where we took on all invaders and vanquished them all. Baseball in the summer, football in the fall. Nothing like changing under the goalposts on those cold November days. Still much the same as it was then, except naturally I don't see any goalposts here now, being the summertime, but 4 baseball fields, 2 softball fields, and an awful lot of memories. Jerome Avenue, just north of Kingsbridge, in front of the Kingsbridge Armory to our back. What we're looking at now is the archway in, which of course when, in the time period that we've been referring to, was the famous Flamingo, where we all had the pizza and met every night we wanted to go somewhere. We often wondered what happened to Pete. He certainly made the best pizza in town then. God knows what they make there now. Well, I'm the famous Kingsbridge Armory. I don't know how many of you guys ever belonged. I never did belong to the guard here, but I was in it a couple of times. Huge place, probably the biggest armory in this area. I guess they round up the Saturday night people in it now. James Farm. Swing, slides, skating rink in the winter, shortcut on the way home from the movies. Beautiful place. Still looks to be in pretty good condition. The man taking care of the grass here right now is Fordham Road and University Avenue, St. Nicholas the Tallentine Church, still I understand is being completed. I guess they'll complete that in about 100 years. Very busy area, always was, I guess it still is. We're going to move now towards, looking east towards Jerome Avenue on Fordham Road, and we'll pick it up as we go along. We'll wind up all the way at Fordham Road and Webster Avenue. We're in Poe Park now, looking at the Poe Cottage, where Edgar Allan Poe lived for a certain period of his life. If I remember correctly going in there, it seemed like everybody was 4 feet 4 in those days because you had to bend over every time you went through a doorway. They evidently still keep it in good repair, so it must be still a sightseeing site, I presume, for tours and whatnot. Panning around the park, the famous bandstand, if you remember, they used to have dances here during the summer on Wednesday nights, if I recall. Tony Pastor, one of the Dorsey bands came through, Claude Thornhill. They were very nice evenings. I'm sure they don't have them any longer. Kingsbridge Avenue, just north of Fordham Road. We're looking at the building that used to house the YWCA. They also used to have a regular dance on Wednesday nights during the winter time. Panning down towards the side of the old Lido Riviera restaurant, Shields Bar, where I had my first drink of Guinness Stout and my last. The Windsor Theater was down below where we see that red arcade, I guess. Panning around, this is the eastern end of Fordham Road, of course. Coming around. This building here obviously was the site of Jan's Ice Cream Parlor in later years. And this was the telephone company that used to come down here to pay the phone bills before checking accounts were invented. The crossroads of the world. Maybe it's not 42nd Street or Trafalgar Square in London or wherever in Berlin or Tokyo, but this is the crossroads of our world. Looking north from Fordham Road to the Concourse, panning over to the old Dime Savings Bank. Sutter's Bakery used to be right there where you see Beauty Supply, panning around Fordham Road. There were 3 movies within a block and a half from here, looking east on Fordham Road. The old Griffin office building. Looking down the Concourse, past where you see the Siemens sign, was J.S. Crumb, where we used to get those great ice cream. South on the Concourse towards the Paradise Theater. Coming around. The old Alexander's store. Alexander's chain now out of business for the last couple of years. They're putting the cow doors here. We all got a lot of dollar sneakers that lasted all summer in that store. Truly the hub of the North Bronx. PS 46, I see now they're calling it the Edgar Allan Poe School. But a lot of our guys went to school 46. We also used to have games in the schoolyard. I didn't go here, and a lot of others didn't, but a few fellas and girls I'm sure did, so there's some nice memories connected here. And of course, right across the street is Our Lady of Refuge, affectionately known as OLR. Rival to us guys from St. Philip's, but still what it would appear to be a very well-maintained facility. And looking south, of course, we're looking at Briggs Avenue all the way down to 194th Street. Good afternoon. It's August of 1993. That's Lifer's Candy Store behind us. It may not be Lifer's now, but it'll always be Lifer's to us. Dave and his wife and the kids. The Daily News for 2 cents, Walters for a nickel, ice cream cones for 6 cents. Everybody's mother and aunt sitting here waiting for the papers to come in. In the background towards the right, of course, 198th Street, looking at Jerome Avenue, where the Hopkins lived and the McMahons lived, and Eddie and Aaron Arabia, Pop's Fruit Store on the corner. Panning over this way, the famous stickball field going up the hill from 198th to Minerva. How many of us remember the stickball games where we played against each other and against the guys from Miriam Avenue and across the Concourse? Right on this corner where we're standing was the starting point for the relays we used to have. Once around was the sprints and 4 times around against the guys from the other side of the Concourse, the Mester brothers, Gio, Tommy Burns. The stickball game we had against the Giants when they used to live here in the summer. Where we're standing, Ben Warren, the catcher for the Giants, hit the ball up on top of 5 Minerva up there, way up in the distance above that tree. He couldn't hit any out of the polo grounds, but he could certainly hit one here. That sign over there by the telephone, right next to it was the drugstore. We all sat on that stoop having sodas. Panning around again towards the Concourse. Mac's Old Delicatessen. Jack Twiggs worked there, I know that. Maybe a few of the others worked there. And again on towards the Concourse. This is the center of our neighborhood, and of course our extended area extends really from Marshall Parkway on the north to Fordham Road on the south, University to Webster east and west. 5 Roman Catholic churches, 4 public schools, 3 high schools, a college, 15 movies. We'll have a quiz after this to see how many you can name. 15 movies. Our tour will take us to all the area that's probably covered during the short time we have, and I hope everybody enjoys it. The only thing I can promise you about it is this is the last time you'll see me. Okay, let's go. We're on Minerva Place at the top of the Creston Avenue Hill. Of course, this is where Creston Avenue starts and goes south all the way down to around Burnside Avenue. We're looking at 5 Minerva, a large building, panning around. And of course, that apartment, the grayish apartment building, is 2871 Grand Concourse, but everybody thought they lived on Minerva Place. It was 5 long flights up to the Twiggs apartment, but they made it every day, and they're none the worse for it, I guess, huh? Doherty's lived there. Esposito's coming around towards this side. If I remember correctly, the building on the corner, Billy Riley lived there, and Donnie Burke lived here, and we all lived here, I guess. See that? 199th Street, Jerome Avenue to the Concourse. On a personal note, this is where I, of course, first came at 3 years of age. We moved around the corner when I was about 10, but this is where the Conroys started out and played and all. That yellow boarded up store used to be a fruit store, and one night playing a game of baseball off the wall, Jim Conroy and Whitey DeFino went through the window and got some severe cuts out of it. Panning along, there used to be Sam Stagg's kosher butcher shop and the Pop's shoemaking shop. The first building coming along was 11 East 199th. The Skays lived, and a few other people that maybe you all wouldn't be familiar with. The next building, 15 East 199th Street, was where Billy Milton, his brother Bobby lived, the O'Sheas, and the Cassidys, and the McAllister, 5 McAllister sons. The building up at the corner, the newer apartment house building, was garages and a private 2-family house where a dentist works. Can't think of his name, I don't think, but it wasn't Dr. Wack, like somebody's name. You ready? Alright. That's famous 18 East 199th Street, where Conroy's moved in 1934. And over the years, we had quite a few people from our group in there. Jimmy Block was there all his younger years. Stanley Seaman, Gene Yore. Mr. Bush was the famous superintendent of 18 East 199th Street. And it was really a nice building, and they still do. At that time it was nice. And the store, handing down to the stores in the building, there was a furrier there, a dairy, which is now Village Grocery, used to be Seaman's Grocery. The laundromat was where Vincent had his barber shop, and the finest chef on the corner was Shill's Drugstore. See the block, we had the sewers, that's how the old term got in, a 2-sewer or a 3-sewer mill. And stickball, if you pan down to the sidewalk there, you can still see probably similar to the type of game we used to play. We used to call it college box, but I don't think that's quite the game we're playing right now. Of course, looking up towards the Concourse, the Susan Devon home across the way. And the building to the right, the red brick building, 2895 Grand Concourse, where Donnie and Vinny Casella lived. We used to play touch tackle football here, right on the sidewalk. Johnny Ride the Pony, handball in the courtyard of 18 East 199th Street. How many of you remember it was called Wells Court? I never. 2877 Grand Concourse, where my family lived from the time I was 9 years old until I went off to the wilds of Westchester to get married. Looked a little bigger then, but the whole neighborhood looked a little bigger when you were a little smaller. Panning up the Concourse, looking north on the Concourse towards 200th Street. From what I was told once, the Grand Concourse was the longest and widest strictly residential street in the world. I don't know if that's true or not, but it still looks great. Panning towards the other side of the Concourse, that house, reddish house where the little boy is going up the steps, right next to him in that ground floor entrance is where the Dorellas lived, all the years they lived in this neighborhood. And then panning around, and then looking south on the Concourse to the curb, heading down towards Kingsbridge and Fordham Road. Jerome Avenue between Minerva and 199th, we're looking at what used to be the lots. Sleigh riding, football here too. All sorts, weenie roast, there was softball games down on the lower half. And what is it now? Looks like a New York telephone company facility. We had a lot of fun in those lots. I don't think the telephone guys have the fun that we did now. Or then, sorry. Bedford Park Boulevard, looking at the Jerome Avenue L and Jerome Avenue. Standing around the stores. Madden's Bedford Pub was Joe Dorella's old place. And as we see the back entrance to the St. Philip Neri, and they have a yard there now, which they didn't have when we were kids. And of course this is the start of Villier Avenue, where it comes down from 206th Street. The underpass going through under the Concourse, closed for repairs, as is the bridge over the subway yards. Hecker's Pastry Shop is still here. It was Weber's and then it became Hecker's, and they're still in business. On the Concourse, looking at St. Philip Neri Church. lot of baptisms, confirmations. Of course, some of us went to the school here for years. First time I ever met Jack Twigs, he came into the 6th grade when I had been here all this time. That's a few years ago. The priest house next door where Father Sinnott was the pastor when we were kids, and then Monsignor Kelly. And of course the school was built, if I remember correctly, sometime in the late 1940s. When we went to grammar school here, there was no building. That was the playground. St. Philip Neri had a playground, a summer program, where everybody wanted to be one of Miss Mahoney's monitors. That's an inside joke. We went to classes underneath the school in the back. There was a classroom in the basement. There was classrooms up on another level. It was a wonderful place to go to school. And of course, panning around, looking up the Concourse North. That's the northern end of our. Okay. As you can see, we're on East 198th now by Bainbridge Avenue. This neighborhood contributed a lot of the members to the stage. Jimmy Killen, Frank Ryan, Bunny Schloss, Charlie Anderson, Pop Clemens, one of our coaches. This view, of course, is looking from Bainbridge toward the Concourse. And as we pan around, going around behind us, we'll see the grounds of Mount St. Ursula Academy, one of the 3 high schools in our neighborhood. I understand there was a big scandal at the convent the other day. Somebody reported the toilet seat was up. That building is the site of the old Decatur Theater. Now it's Benya's the Rhythm Factory. But when it was at Decatur Theater, you could go in there on a Saturday at 11 a.m. I think it was 10 cents, maybe 12. You'd get a comic book, see 6 serials, 3 cartoons, a double feature, maybe win an ice cream and get home about 6 o'clock, just when your mother gave you up for war. That's one of the 15 movies in our neighborhood, the old Decatur Theater. I guess it's been this for quite some time now. At Webster Avenue between 194th and 196th. We're a couple of blocks north on Webster now, and this building, I believe, is the site of the old River Shannon Bar, which was the scene of a couple of New Year's parties that I went to, and a couple of epic brawls also. When the L was here, the old 3rd Avenue L, you used to be able to walk over, I think, just behind that building there, and take the back way over to see Fordham University, and many a time we went over there to play and also watch the old Fordham Rams play when the Fordham Rams were big-time college football. Now we're looking, of course, up Webster towards 200th Street, and we'll be proceeding up a few blocks more. Frisch Field, Marshall, Parkway, and Webster Avenue. Sunday doubleheaders here were the biggest thing in the Bronx in those days. Not only did Frank Frisch play here when he was a kid, but Lou Gehrig, Buddy Hassett, Hank Barowie pitched here. Any number of great players played here. St. Philip Neri's Don Bosco team here played here almost every Sunday afternoon. This was the Bronx Umpires Alliance home field. Some tremendous ball games here. There used to be grandstands over here in left field where they're gone now. And as I remember, they had very nice dugouts, and right field was so short that if I remember correctly, it was only a double over the right field fence on the fly. Terrific place to play. We're in hostile territory now. As you can see, that's the new church of St. Brendan's and the school right next door. The school also used to run dances Friday and Saturday nights, and Sunday nights, not Saturday nights. And I wonder if all these places had all these dances, why some of us can't dance any better than we can now, huh? This was the home, of course, of the Brendan Bombers, the football team that we always wanted to beat. And we're on our way over now up towards the Williamsbridge Oval, where we played a lot of football games. We'll be right with you. Walked through this tunnel to a lot of losing games, but there were some good ones too. This is a tremendous park, not only the football field, they used to play roller hockey here, basketball, and as we go in, I'm sure we'll still see it being used extensively. It's part of the, there's a Bronx museum next door, historic revitalization program going on. So let's go in and take a look how it's doing now. Inside the park now, you can see that there's plenty of activity going on, although the tennis courts aren't getting much use. The playground over here, there's quite a few children playing football. There's a couple of teams getting ready for the season, although the football field doesn't look like it's ready yet. That's a darn sure. Panning over towards that's where the old roller hockey fields were, and now the basketball courts. And the swimming pool is in good use. A lot of picnics going on, and then of course in the background is the locker room. That was the best thing about playing here. You could go inside and change without freezing your butt off. Evidently this park is still extensively used, and very nice place. Public School 80 on North Marshall Parkway. Among its other claims to fame, this is the school where I believe my brother Jack had his first teaching assignment when he lived in the Bronx. When we were kids, St. Philip Neri kids, that is, of us who were kids there, we had no school, no basketball court, so we played our basketball games here against all the CYO games from the Bronx on Wednesday nights. It was a pretty good walk from 198th Street and the Concourse over here, but we had some good games here. Ray Loftus was the coach of the team in those days. The building still looks pretty well maintained. And panning around, of course, now we see the park, Marshall Park, busy traffic leading over to the Deegan, and of course over to the Webster Avenue and the Botanical Gardens. Pupsi Tachillo, Blackie Sabira, Freddie Baciano, Joe Raguso. Any of those names, remember? Well, this is where they all lived on Villier Avenue. Stalwart part of St. Philip Neri Parish. That parking lot, or classic car center, was Carver's funeral home. He had the license for everybody who died in this neighborhood. He used to put you away for $200 and threw a band in the boot. Jerome Avenue L in the background. Every year they had the Feast of St. Anthony's here. Right here on this site, they used to have the ferry merry-go-round. All the booths with the clams and the sausage and the Italian ices. Just terrific. The Villa Laundromat, did you see that? That was Muccio's restaurant. Quite a few of the people, they'd get out of Mass in St. Philip's. If they didn't go to Joe Dorella's bar, they came here. And they served very good meals well into the 1970s. Excellent place to eat. Of course, the underpass going under the Concourse looks to be closed for repairs. But this was the Italian neighborhood in the North Bronx. This and, of course, Mount Carmel. This is where the Belois brothers, the great fighting Belois, Mike, Steve, and Sal Belois came from. Steve Belois fought Tommy Moriello in a big fight. And also fought Sugar Ray Robinson for the World Championship. Okay, let's see if the shrine is still there on the Concourse. Here on the north end of the Concourse in October of 1946, a young boy who lived on Villier Avenue told his parents that he had seen a vision of the Blessed Mother. And you can see the site there where they've put the replica of the Ten Commandments, the tablets. And walking around towards the side of this, of course at that time this was an empty lot. This apartment building here on the right wasn't here. And you can see the grotto that's been maintained with the statue of the Blessed Mother, and that cross belonged to that young boy who I know has passed away, and for the life of me I can't remember his name. But the priests, of course, at St. Philip Neri disavowed any connection with this, and they got no support from the Archdiocese, and they tried to maintain this in a more grand way, but nothing ever came of it, I guess. Certainly nothing like Fatima or Lourdes or anything like that. But it's interesting to see that they've maintained this one little spot still, which is now close to 50 years. And I'm sure people still come here and absolutely believe that this boy saw the vision. Anyway, it's an interesting thing in the middle of all this early growth, this one spot that is still kept this way. Well, that completes our little journey through the old neighborhood. We're back here in front of Lifers again, and it's been a pleasure for me to do this, and I hope everybody who's still with us has enjoyed it, and maybe a moment to be taken out for those who aren't still with us. Billy Hopkins, Charlie and Danny McMahon, Vinny Pasella, Ricky Durella, Billy Riley, and whoever else has gone on to their reward. It was a wonderful time for us, and I hope maybe in another 50 years we can all come back and see it again, and maybe life will be back. You never know. Let's go have a more.